I'm working this desk currently, and of course it has drawers. The drawer on this end looks like two drawers, just like over here, but it is actually just one large drawer to match the look of the other side. And also this deep drawer is used for files and notepads, etc. So I want to show how I design these dovetails, and I'll just start out with a blank side. I'll draw a rectangle here that is, say, well, let's make this about that long, about 19 inches long, and about 5 1/8. Okay, that's a reasonable side for a small drawer. And then I'll give that a 1/2 inch thickness, which is typical for many of the drawers and is true for this desk piece that I'm working currently. So this is one of the drawer sides, and this is how I would start in making the dovetails for a drawer. And in a lot of cases, I'm using about a 9/16 dovetail. So the front of the drawer is actually 7/8 thick because of the cock-bead being 1/8 inch. So the dovetails actually go 9/16 into the drawer front. So here is the space for the dovetails. And I typically drop down about 3/16 from the top. This is the front drawer, the front of the drawer, the front end of the drawer. So the back piece would connect here. Those dovetails are a little bit different, but these are the hidden dovetails in the front. And so this gives me an idea of the location of those dovetails. And I draw a line that extends from that connection and that connection. And then I'll divide that line. Right click and then divide. And I'll pick something that looks reasonable. I'll just pick 4 segments here. That looks reasonable for the dovetails on this size of a drawer. Now I've got the center lines then for all the dovetails. They show up as little green dots. So those are the center lines. And around a center line, I want to, right here, that's the center line of this dovetail. And what I typically do is show a 1/16 guideline on that direction and a 1/16 on that direction, and then another 1/16 and another 1/16, and then I end up with a 32nd. 1 32nd here and 1 32nd here. Then I have, this ends up creating is a 1/8 inch throat and a 5/16 at this end of the dovetail. So this is the tail section of the dovetails. The pins are on the front of the drawer. So these are the tails that I'm working. But I worked on this first using these guidelines. Actually, that angle there, and that angle on the dovetail is 9.5 degrees, and that's a good angle for dovetails. Some of the information in my books, old books on how to make dovetails, indicate that 9.5 is a very good. And it also, I have 5/16 here, which is, I have a chisel that is 5/16, and that's handy. And right here at the throat, I've got a 1/8, so the saw has to cut in and remove this material here. And I'll just go ahead and remove that material. So we've got one, and I can just eliminate these guidelines. So I've got one identified. I'm going to change my style to a back edges style, and I don't have one here, so I'm going to make a new one that's a back edges, and I'll call that back edges. And then edit that and click on the back edges here, and then save that. And now I've got a style where I can see all the back lines as well. So I'm going to select that dovetail and move it to the other midpoints in this divided line. So I'm going to copy this down to the next, did I miss it? There it is. End point there. And I click, and then I can say X3, and that makes 3 more of these things. And then I also want to move this up to the center line up here. So on this dovetail end to the front of the drawer, I need a little bit more space, and that's why I went down a little bit here, and I'm going to add a little segment here, and then push that out and push this out. And I get rid of these lines here. So that's the top of the tails, and down here I can do the same thing. And then I can push out these other locations. And then I don't need this line here. I don't want that line there. I don't want that line there. And so on. And on this back face, it looks okay. It looks like I copied that dimension that I put in there temporarily. So there's the hidden tails on the side, and from these tails I can make the pins in the front.